because I'm going to be chatting with an Italian change maker, an incredible entrepreneur, and a member of the Global Shapers in Rome. His name is Umberto Canessa Cherchi. Umberto, thank you so much for joining.
And thank you for having me. It's really a pleasure for me to be here.
It's a pleasure for us, and we're very excited to hear, because ever since the COVID crisis started, people have been wondering, okay, what can be done, right? What can we do to help businessmen and people that had to close their shops, because we can work at home, but what happens to a restaurant owner, right? Which is the people you are assisting right now. What happens to a person that has had a shop selling clothes? So I think your example is a brilliant example of platforms that can utilize technology to face the crisis. Before going into that, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? I know that you've worked in several startups. You've founded several startups in Italy and the Netherlands. So why don't you tell us?
Yes. So I always said about myself that I was born entrepreneur and I will die an entrepreneur. So that's it. Right now, I'm kind of in a sabbatic period from entrepreneurship. So not entrepreneurship for now, but again, now there is a one sit. I'm coming from a very small town in Liguria, next to Genoa, and then I moved to the university in Rome, and there is where I started my first startup, and I was 20 years old, something like that. And actually, as a 20 years old, my first startup, most of the time I have no clue what I was doing. After 3 years and did a lot of mistakes, we actually got to the right point, but then we failed because it's normal. And but actually that was one of the most important things that I learned. And thanks to that, then I just ask myself, how can I not fail again, or how can I reduce the risk to fail? And then I started working with Lean Startup Machine, and back in the days, the Lean Startup method and Lean Startup movement, which is actually what every startup is following right now, was starting to be a thing. And I was one of the first tackling this in Italy with the Lean Startup Machine, where I organized the workshop for them. It was like a startup weekend, so 3 days workshop where we teach to people how they can reduce at least the risk to fail, or at least if you're going to fail, it's not a problem because you didn't spend so much money as I did.
Right.
And I work with them, and thanks to that, I learned a lot. And also that project is starting to became like a consulting company where we also helped corporates, because in the time also the corporates start saying, hey, but startups are doing great. Why we're not innovating as a startup? So we started working with them and teach them how they can actually innovate as a startup. But then the entrepreneurship startup mood was dragging me back, and actually we founded another startup. It was called Gosherpy, and Gosherpy was actually the last startup I founded. Was a fintech platform, a fintech app allowing people to save money automatically. So it's very like a piggy bank. We got very nice results with Gosherpy. So we launched in Italy. We grew up. And then we decided to take the steps to scale. So we went to the Netherlands, where we had we were part of Startup Bootcamp's acceleration program here in Amsterdam. And then after even there, other 3-4 years, we saw that we have a very good product metrics. So people were loving our product, but we had some difficulties to monetize that product. So we pivoted. We created a new version of the product, which was more freelancers, saving about taxes and so on and so forth. But then at the time also we decided, okay, we said maybe we are too tired or whatever. We just need a break, whatever. I mean, it's been tough. So we decided to close Gosherpy, even if our users were very sad about that. And then we sold the new product that we just developed. We sold it here in the Netherlands to other entrepreneurs. And then it started my sabbatic period last year. And then since then, I'm actually working with what I'm doing right now. My role is actually senior lead coach, but it means it's I'm a venture builder. So what I do is for a company here in the Netherlands, which is called Innolips, what I'm doing is helping corporates to actually launching a new product in 3 months. So we're working with a corporate team. So we founded a corporate startup, and I'm there to guide the team of the corporates to actually build, following the startup methodology, from zero to market test in 3 months. So we're just building up a new product, building up new ventures. And that's me in a nutshell, I will say.
That's very, very interesting. I'll have some questions on startup building for our community. I'll leave that to the last part. By the way, guys, if you have questions, please type them in the comments. Tell us where you are, where you're sending them from. We'd love to hear and would love to answer the questions. But I wanted to really talk about, the COVID crisis, the impact it's having, and this new project that you've created, right? Save One Seat.
Yeah.
So how did that take place? I mean, did you start having calls between the shapers in Italy? How did it came to your mind?
Well, actually, it came out. I even don't remember how it came out. I was just dragged in. One of the, I think was Costanza, one of our team member on the app, had this kind of idea and said, "Guys, we need to do something for this." I mean, it's part of our mission as a global shapers. We did a lot of projects, and this seems like the right time for us to, invest our skills, invest our time, our effort, our brain to help those. So, and there it came out the idea of Save One Seat, and then we just started working out on that. I had luckily, since I had this experience in startups, I was able to bring my experience with the startups to this kind of project, and so that's the kind of things, because for the first time also this kind of project, as we as a global shaper, our kind of project is kind of more long, require more long time and so on and so forth. But instead this time we're trying actually to tackle it as we are a startup. So we're working as a startup, and we got the idea 1 week after we were already having our landing page. 1 week after we launched, we started onboarding the restaurants, and 1 week after we launched on the B2C. So in 3 weeks, from the ideas to the market, we did everything considered. Also, this is something that we do on top of our job.
Right.
So
right.
yes, we have a big team, but also we had to invest a lot of our time, especially nights, on this. A lot of calls during this. But you know what? What I was always saying, what I see that during my previous startup, when I started, I was not knowing most of the time what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Is that here, since the global shapers community is a community of people that actually is trying to get not only professionally achieve some professional skills, but also want to help the world or whatever. We had in the team itself, in the Global Shaper Hub, you have all the different skill sets. So that was such a great opportunity for us, because I think that without that kind of skill set, without that kind of team, Save One Seat could not be possible. Because it's not just me as a product guy or whatever, because I'm able to code, but actually it's more about Costanza, Mary, Valentina, Jubin, Julia, all of the people on the team that actually has very skill sets in their specific area, and they can actually take that leap and bring in the entire process more forward.
Right.
And that's why, if I have to sum up how many days we worked on Save One Seat, I think it's less than 15 days if you can sum up the hours of a typical hours. So, and that is only possible by the people which is inside the team. As we said in the start, people said it, team is everything, and ideas are shit, execution is everything, and team is most important, and that's prove it.
This is proving it. Yeah. Well, I was lucky enough to know and to meet in person the team from the Global Shapers in Rome, and they are just fabulous. This is how I got to you and to Save One Seat, right? So I want to take it step by step, right? Because a lot of people in our community don't know the Global Shapers, don't know what it is. And, I've met a lot of people that belong to this network, this global network of shapers around the world, but never have I seen the commitment that I see in the hub in Rome. So do you want to tell us a little bit about, Global Shapers as a community and, the hub, how the hub operates in Rome?
So the Global Shaper community is actually the young association, if you can call it like this, of the World Economic Forum.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm probably the worst person to talk about the Shaper history or whatever. There is people that is more knowledgeable than me. But from what I know, it came out that the WEF recognized that, hey, we are taking decision for the young generation, but there's no young generation here. So maybe we should do something. And that's how from what I understood, the Global Shipper community was born. And the cool thing about a Global Shipper is that it's a young association. So that means that to be part of it, you'll not be older than 30 or 33 years old. Maybe they just updated. And also that what we're looking for is actually getting people with different skill sets inside the hub. So if you want to help and you can bring value to the hub with your skill set, please come to us. You can onboard us. You can send your CV. because in any case we are looking for people that already proved something in their day in their life, but also they still have a lot of things to prove, and so they have a lot of ambitious to make something better, something good, and so on and so forth. So that's kind of sum up of what the global shipper is. And the good things in Italy, we have, I don't remember, 7, 8, maybe 9 different apps. Again, I'm the worst person to talk about this. All around Italy, and all the apps are doing great. I mean, all the apps actually have their own project. And actually, this is for maybe the Save One Seat is actually, it could be seen as the first project that is actually working across all the apps. Because usually we as Rome app, we just focusing on Rome or limit area nearby. And then there is the Florence app, the Turin app, the Milan, the Palermo, and whatever. And those apps actually working for their specific area, because what we want to bring is, in any case, an impact. So all the project has to have an impact.
Yeah.
So you need to be very focused. And when we came out with the idea of Save One Seat as a Rome app, all the other apps say, hey, we want to help. And so actually now Save One Seat we can see as the first project, which is actually, I think it's the first one, but they can actually work all across the country, which is great, because I mean, I'm working right now with developers from the Florence team and on the Florence hub, and there is people from Florence working with our marketing. We all our video that you saw for Save One Seat, we had a very nice presenting video, emotional.
I saw it, yeah.
And it's been done by a girl from the Bari Isab. I mean, that's the kind of the value, that the community can give when they want to, and that's proof what we are able to achieve or what we are able to do as a people. And regarding the whole Rome hub, we just be maybe famous about that we are most funky or funny one. We have an hub of around a lot of people, but again, with all the different skill set, we find ourselves, we have not, Save One Seat is not only the project we have so far. We had still ongoing other projects, which are going good, which is going great. Mm-hmm. Now, just Save One Seat is just having a lot of visibility, let's say, just because of the COVID and so on and so forth. But if you go to our website, you can see all the projects that we're working on, and there are a lot of great projects that we invest all of our time, even the people which is not actually involved in Save One Seat is just because, not because they don't want, because they are actually following other projects right now.
Right. Now let's talk about what is Save One Seat, right? We can picture it through the name. It's a very good name because it's eloquent, but yeah, what is it?
So it's a super simple thing. I mean, the idea of Save One Seat is that as of today, restaurants are closed, so they can't get people in. Okay, then some of them can actually still do the delivery if they are organized for doing so, but the majority, maybe they are not actually doing the delivery, so they're still having a lot of fixed costs. Think about the rent, or think about the taxes. Now the taxes has been delayed, but there is a lot of they're missing liquidity. That's the thing. So what we actually said is that, okay, but how we can help them? So the idea of Save One Seat is on a platform that allows consumer or people like us to actually buy like a coupon or a voucher of 10, 30, 50, 80 euros for a specific restaurant. So imagine that I go there, I found a restaurant I like, and I can say, okay, I want to buy 30 euros because it's a restaurant that I always go, for example, during when things are normal. So I know that I will go there as soon as this is closed. So what I can do is just buying a coupon of 30 euros. And then the next time I'm going to the restaurant, I can just show my coupon, and the 30 euros amount will be deducted from my bill at the end. So it's just like prepaying your dinner. In this way, what you get in any case as a consumer, you're going to get your dinner at the end, but also you helped. And this is something important. We want to remember that this is also a nice gesture to do with the people that we care, because those people, in any case, host us. In those places, we spent our birthday, or we spent our party when our friends come back. I mean, those are places also that we have some memories. So we help those places. And at the end of the time, also the restaurant got the good things that it can have, still having some liquidity to keep them going. And especially when they're going to reopen, because then is when they need it.
Right. Now, you were saying you launched it going through all the phases of startup building in 3 weeks, right? Can you break down these phases?
Yes. So the first phases was, okay, guys, let's stop. Let's think about what we have to do. Because the first phases is always when you start with a new project, is that you are super happy, you're super excited, and you would like to break the world. I mean, you think, okay, this thing is going to break the world. We're super and blah blah blah. So we need to like take a breath. After that, the actual things that we did is said, okay, what we should do now, let's just figure out if this kind of approach could actually work. I mean, let's see if the restaurants are interested in our support, and also if people are actually interested in our support. Right. So we went live with a landing page stating what Save One Seat is. So it's a very a landing page, for those who doesn't know it, is a very basic web page with only a couple of call to action. The only things you can see is just read about a specific project. And we proposed that. We proposed it to the market, and we started already receiving restaurants signing up to the form, because we, at the end of the landing page, there were two buttons. One is, hey, if you're a restaurant, you want to be part of it, please sign up. Or if you want to help us or the restaurants, whatever, please sign up. And we saw that we got like a lot of leads, starting receiving a lot of leads, and in a very short period of time. And then we said, okay, well, okay, people want it. Okay, we should really invest our time and help those restaurants.
Right. Well, I want to stop you 1 second. Yeah. So you said we asked the market. How did you do that precisely?
Well, that was very, very simple. We asked the market just with that webpage, and then through our channel, we started texting to the restaurant and sharing the link with them. We went to Facebook groups. We put some of our money, so like 50 euros, because this is what we have. We have no profit. So we put 50 euros on Facebook, trying to spreading the message, and then also sending that to some newspapers. So we tried our best to, spread the landing page through all the market in order to get visibility to that.
Right.
And after we start collecting those leads, then we said, okay, now maybe we should think about it to actually how we can make this happen, because now it's the time. I mean, we see that there is value here, so we need to build this in order to give this value to the restaurants and give this value to the people. So what we did then is actually we spent a lot of time studying what we should do. So all the legal part or the fiscal part, and closing deals with payment service provider for the restaurant in order they don't have to take like fees, for example.
Right.
And they're gonna, if usually when you use a payment service provider, there's always a fee due to the transaction. We work with them in order to not having that fee for the restaurants, for example. So we spent that week actually in that week the legal team did a great job for all this part. The sales team prepared the entire material for the restaurants in order then, as soon as they're gonna get on board, they will know what is gonna happen. And on my side, I'd actually developed the first funnel of the project, which was the onboarding of the restaurant. So at the end of the second week, we were out having everything done. So we were having the restaurant onboarding platform in order to the restaurant to start signing up. We had the legal part covered. We have the agreements with the corporates. We had a lot of things. I mean, in a week, we did a huge amount of work. And then after that, we said, okay, now we see that restaurants are starting signing up. So that means that also the process that we built is kind of good enough. And also the material we built, it's understandable. And then we say, okay, now it's time to go live with the B2C. So in the next week, what we did, it was actually preparing the entire B2C launching. So, right. And then we went live on Sunday afternoon last week.
Right. So now anyone can go into the platform.
Now you're stuck.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. There's again the problem with the network. Sorry. So anyone can go to the platform and book their seat, and on the other hand, restaurants can also go and basically sign up their.
So now, if you go to saveoneseat.com, both if you are a restaurateur or even a customer, you can. If you are a customer, you can check the restaurant who are already listed in the platform, so active and ready to receive a payment and so on and so forth. But also, if you are a restaurant owner, you have a link to starting the onboarding process, and you can do it on your own. And once you finish the onboarding process, you already go live in the platform, and everything gets done.
Right, right. Now, what's the plan? You mentioned you want to work with other hubs in Europe to launch it in different countries, right?
Yes.
And you think already like an entrepreneur, you're used to launching abroad in other markets. What's the strategy for that?
So just yesterday we had a call with other apps around Europe, and they because we did it a call. We have like a global shipper community. We have a Facebook group with all the hubs all around the world, so all the people there, and we have Ephraim, which is actually the person responsible for the expansion, so of bringing the message, bringing the platform to other countries. He posted there and he say, hey, whoever is interested to bring a say one seat to their countries, please, this is the call. Feel free to join. All the help is welcome. So what happened is that yesterday we had a call with we had Germany, Luxembourg, Greece, and Lithuania, a lot of other countries that actually were interested to, okay, how can we help? And so now the next step we were going to work with those is actually we are going to repack all the content that we prepared, here in Italy, and we are going to repack them in order to give them. And on the other level, all the developers around the world are going to join us here, the centralized team, let's say, for building up the platform. In this way, we're going to have unique platform that can serve all the apps along the around the world. Because actually, I mean, developers, it's kind of a race that is kind of rare right now. I mean, it's being a developer is kind of cool things because it's very helpful. So not all the hubs have developers as such as ours, because I'm the one who developed, or such as other hubs. So what we did is said, okay, let's just call all the developers that are in the global shipper community want to contribute here, and then all together we're going to build it up the platform, and then we'll serve all the different countries.
Right, right. So can anyone in Egypt contact you, for example, or in Lebanon or in any country to start perhaps one on their own?
Yeah, indeed. If you want to help, you can just, if you want to bring this to your country, the only things you should do is just contact us, and we are more than welcome to see with you if it's possible, how we can make it happen, and then we're gonna start a plan. I mean, we're here for help, and we want to save one seat to help, and so whoever wants to help is more than welcome. We are not gonna say no to anybody until there must be the condition, obviously, because I mean, if you're like alone and you don't have like a network, because what we, in any case, we said, for example, yesterday in the meeting is that, guys, it's a very nice, very cool project to follow. There is a very nice, it's also the right moment to help this. But on the other hand, we are working as a startup. So you has to be very committed, and the workload is super high. And I think that everybody has their daily job. And so you need to be a big team, very committed, very strong, in order to take the extra step to make this happen. If you're just alone and you don't have anything, maybe you can contribute to us, but it's more complicated for you to launch it just by yourself in your country.
Right, right. Tell us a little bit about the impact of this. I mean, in terms of, we know that the global economy right now is hurting because of the COVID-19. What can you tell us about the restaurant sector in Italy in particular?
So I have the number somewhere. So, but I try to see if I do remember them. The restaurant sector actually in Italy counts a lot of money. I mean, we are talking about food and drink. We're talking about 71 billions. Okay, so it's around 13% of the Italian GDP.
Right.
And on average, it gives to job to 1.4 million people, and families. So I mean, it's especially in Italy, we are the country of food, so it's like a huge thing.
Yeah.
So before, at the beginning of the pandemic, what has been estimated is that the impact on the revenues was a loss of over 30% for more than 57% of the restaurants. So that means that half of the restaurant will have lost 30% of their income, of the revenues, due to the pandemic. And that was just before the pandemic actually kicked in Italy as it's happened. So now the estimate is around 40% of the revenues, that we can actually estimate around 30 billion euro in loss of revenues for the restaurants only in Italy. So think about it, what could be the impact in other countries. I mean, I'm living in the Netherlands, and even here, all the restaurants are closed, and it will be still closed till the end of April. And there is already people that lost their job, and also the restaurant didn't get revenues. So it's kind of a big impact.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Now, do you see potential for the platform to continue beyond the COVID-19? Can this turn into a system where people can pre-book or buy, gift cards, as we were talking before? Do you see continuity?
Well, so as an entrepreneur, I will hope so. I will hope so. But on the other hand, what I think is that now we are so focused on what is happening today, and we are not having any kind of long-term plan, thinking about what is going to happen after the crisis. So we are just super focused on what is happening today because it's already taking most of our brain to figure out what to do and how we can help.
Yeah.
I do hope so that we can figure out, and I'm sure that if there is the commitment between from all the team and all the people, that we will be able also to transform this to something that can, in any case, could always help. The most important things for us is that Say One Seat is a no-profit project, so we are not taking any euro out of it. And I don't know what is going to happen in the future, but I think that this is also the good part of it. So if we're gonna, if even if the crisis is gonna end, even if we could be able to continue with this mission to help, then in that case, I think that all the team, but I just have to check, all the team will be more than welcome to continuously going. Um, but what I think is that in any case, as soon as I don't think that as soon as the quarantine, for example, will over, we will see everything will go back as usual. So I do believe personally that this kind of impact we will see an impact for at least 1 year, especially on the restaurant and the food market, because I mean it's really depend. I don't know, but this is my assumption, and my assumption is that as soon as the quarantine, for example, in Italy is over and the restaurant could open again, I don't think that people will actually start floating to the restaurant and all the restaurant will be full. I think the people will still be a little bit scared, and then it's there also Say One Seat could continuously help till the moment that it's not going to be needed anymore. But this is just an assumption. I mean, I don't know. Maybe as soon as the crisis is over, restaurant going to be open and people full again, and we are more than happy to do so. So we can even close the platform and we don't have to take care of them anymore.
Right, right. Tell me about other projects that you have seen in Italy or in the Netherlands that have come out to solve, the crisis or the myriad of crises that are popping up due to this lockdown situation.
So I don't know here in the Netherlands because actually I'm just super focused on all the things that I have to do. I barely time to check what is happening around. I'm like quarantining my place even like since 4 weeks. I quarantine myself or automatically as soon as the quarantine started in Italy. I said, okay, I'm gonna close myself.
Oh, wow, wow.
But what I saw is that, for example, we saw something in the US in San Francisco. There is Save Our Faves, which is actually totally similar to what we're doing as Say One Seat, and has been founded by one of the co-founder of Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And then also in Italy, we start seeing other projects, coming out. For example, there is another project which is, for example, we just talked with them before, which is Tutti Insieme, and they also want to help also the other categories. So indeed, we were just talking to them and say, hey, since you want to help the other categories, what we can do is giving you, redirect people that come to us to you because you want to help them. Why now we're just focused on the restaurateur. So if you have restaurant, please you can send it to us. So I mean, also the good things about this is that all the platforms that are born for during these things, all of them are actually want to help, and so there is this kind of let's help all together moods, which is very nice because even if I mean there is always like a little bit personal competition, this is mine, I want to be the first, I want to be the best, and blah blah blah. That is normal. It's a human being. But in any case, you can see there is always the openness between all of the people to actually help each other. So now we want to cooperate with them, and they want to cooperate with us and say how we can maximize the impact that we're going to have to help these people. And now we're just thinking about how we can do it, and that's it.
Yeah, I think that's the good part about this whole crisis, right? People, solidarity is rising, people are connecting with others, and then there's a lot of caregiving. I wanted to close with some advice for entrepreneurs. As you said before, I mean, you've founded several companies, you've sold them, and you've done it in a different country as well. Our community is a community of entrepreneurs. Many of them are migrants, many of them are refugees, some of them, want to move elsewhere and expand abroad. So what is your advice for an entrepreneur that wants to, that moves to a new country or finds themselves in a new country and want to start a company?
So the first advice that I will actually give to myself, if I was, if I can go back, is that stop it, don't do it. Uh, but then, if even this advice doesn't stop you, and then do it. I mean, that means that in any case, you have everything. The willingness you have is so strong. That, I mean, being an entrepreneur is very, very hard, and
Mhm.
not just because for the responsibility that you have, but also because it's meaning. I always said that when you're entrepreneurs, everybody is your bosses, because people tend to think that if you're an entrepreneur, if you're the CEO, you are the boss. But that's not true. If you're the CEO, your employees are the bosses, your stakeholders are the bosses, your customers are the bosses, your partners are the bosses, your shareholders, investors are the bosses. So it's a very tough. I mean, okay, you are the boss, but in the end of the day, you just respond, and you are like have to take care of so much people interest that it's so
Yeah.
but aside from that, so if someone wants to start, the third thing first, and is also something that I told myself if I should go back, is that actually is be open. I mean, don't be scared of talking with people about your ideas or whatever, and be as much as collaborative as you can as possible. Because okay, entrepreneurship is like a race. I mean, the first who get there, the better it is. I mean, the first you get there, the better. But at the end of the day, you're not gonna make it by your own. I mean, I do remember that my first startup, I was a solo founder, and that was so bad. And the second one, instead, I had the founders, I have co-founders, I have partners, and even here with the Save One Seat, we are a very group of people, very connected. So you're not just yourself. It's just you have a people around you that can help, and sometimes can also mitigate you, because sometimes if you are the only one, you're always gonna take your ideas, and sometimes, and most of the time, this is what I say about myself. I think that 90% of the ideas I have, it's just bullshit. The good thing is that there is other people that have other ideas, and I can build on top of their idea, which is even better than mine. So it's just to be open, don't be scared, and then take step by step. So just trying to make things simple as possible, as much as you can. Don't take so. I mean, being entrepreneur is meaning taking risks. Okay. Uh, but at the end of the day, you take how can I say, weighted risks. So the thing is, be taking those risks, knowing what you can do today. I mean, one of the things that sometimes I also have to fight inside Save One Seat, and I'm sure that as soon as I'm gonna tell this, my WhatsApp will blown up. Sometimes I have actually to take press the brake. I mean, just say slow down, because when you start, you have so much enthusiasm that you would like to break the world, and that's where you're probably going to smash yourself against the wall, just because that's enthusiasm. It's great to have it, but if you don't control it, that it's you're going to go straight when you have to turn, so you're just gonna straight on the wall. So sometimes, for example, even in Sebastian, I have to say, guys, it's okay, good that we have all this enthusiasm, but just trying to canalize and focus somewhere. And this is my also an advice, because I told this because I passed this on my previous I closed 2 companies of this. So I followed my enthusiasm too much, and I closed 2 companies. So I thought, okay, maybe it's not so good to follow my enthusiasm much. I have to canalize it to a more focused, approach, and that works. So also this, it's good that you have a lot of enthusiasm at the beginning, and being an entrepreneur is like up and down, and actually most of the time the down moments are even more than the high. I mean, being an entrepreneur is a very, very tough due to all these down moments, because there is a very nice chart. I think so you can also find it for everybody who want to check it. Search on Google. How can you search the path of an entrepreneur, or search with through of sorrow? It's a very nice chart for a Y Combinator that so what is the mood of an entrepreneur during the startup cycle. And you can see that at the beginning it's like enthusiasm like here, and then after let's boom, go down, and then it skip to be very, very low until you can actually figure out what to do, and then it start growing again. But
Right.
that part, the through of sorrow, it's so badly that you need to be very committed to it. You should have a team with you that can support you, and you can support each other. And if you have those kind of chemistry and those elements together, well, that is high probability that you can even get out those throughs of sorrow. Because most of the startup actually fail there when they fail when they're in that period. Because if you don't have 100% motivation, even 101%, you're not gonna make it. Because being entrepreneur startups is so fucking difficult that you must be super committed and super 100% at the energy level every single day. That if you are not there, because sometimes it's good that you have some, low days, you need to have someone next to you, your co-founders, your team, whoever, that can support you and can take the lead for that period. So this is more like being together, working together as a team, and making this happen.
Right, right. I'm absorbing everything you're saying as a solo founder as well. I'm like, yes, this is the motivation we needed. Last question. What does it take to sell a company, to have an exit? Because that's the $1 million question for a lot of the entrepreneurs in our
Yeah.
community.
And I would say that if I had the question, probably I wasn't here. What does it take? It takes a lot of things. I mean, I didn't actually did a very proper exit so far, so I don't have the answer neither. I can just see what happened. I mean, what other people did, and it's difficult. There is not like the golden rule that if you're going to follow that path, you're going to
Mhm,
get an exit, you're going to be
mhm.
successful. Because the variable there, there is so many variables that even one can just fuck everything up. But what makes a success is most of the time what I think is, again, having a great team. And I saw it the difference to having, be myself, having a great team. And even now with Say One C, look at what we did. It's just about the team. I always said that even the team, when we're talking, Umberto is the one who developed the product. But what I told the guys, I just coded a couple line of codes. The platform is so stupid. The real jobs here, the real success is what the other guys of the team did. They did, not mine. I just built like a very simple, stupid platform. They did a great job, not mine. So having a great team, and then be sometimes you also have to recognize that you should change your mind. Sometimes entrepreneurs tend to be a little bit too much stubborn. That that's my way. I'm gonna make it. That is gonna be sure for this. Actually, 90% of the time you are wrong, and we need to embrace this. I mean, because the moment you embrace the fact that you don't have the truth in your pocket, and even a person around the street can give you a better feedbacks on your idea, on your project, or whatever than you, if you open to that kind of approach, it's very hard. It's very, very hard to be so open. But if you can embrace it, that will also increase the probability to success. And this is all the lean startup process that I think everybody knows is
Yeah,
all about this. It's
yeah,
just your idea is actually worth nothing. You just have to test it, see what the market said, collect the feedbacks, and then iterate on those. You don't have the truth in your pocket. Just 1% of the people just got lucky. I mean, those people that actually started in one way with their company and then got success, it's the 1-2% of the entrepreneurs around the world, especially in the startup, the digital world, for example. And that it's also a huge part of luck. I mean, luck is there. I mean, if you are in the right time, in the right moment, with
yeah,
the right people, I mean, you also have to get a little bit of luck. But you also have to sometimes put it to be unlucky in the budget. And so when you think about that, you will be more open. And yes, that's all the lean startup method teach to the people. Just be open, test it. You don't have the truth in your pocket. You just have to check. And again, every time I do, also for my current job, working with corporate people, this is what we bring to them. And imagine working with corporate people, which is actually like 20, 30 years experience in their field. They say, hey, but I know how to do my things. And you say, yes, but now the time is changed. Trying to take this step. And this is the most difficult part that I always seen in people is actually realize that what they think, what they know, I mean, what they know, it's most of the time is true, but what they think about something that could work, 99% of the things are false. Because I always said when we build an idea, we build an idea in our mind. So it's here. And
yeah.
here, there is myself, my family, my life, my lifestyle, my fiance, my beer. There is me.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna try to sell it only to me. I'm
Yeah.
gonna try to sell it to someone else. So
Yeah.
why are you trying to convince someone to buy something that I built for myself? I maybe it's better to understand what he wants in order to give it to him. So that's kind of the approach, and it's probably the most difficult part for entrepreneurs, especially when you start at the beginning.
Yeah.
So there are
Yeah.
two ways: or you are so smarter than me, because I learned this just by closing to company, failing, and against the wall. So please be smarter. If you're smarter than me, you're just gonna follow this advice. But there is plenty of books you can read, plenty of video on YouTube that you can follow, plenty of best cases that you can take inspiration from. Be smarter. Go look at those, and then start acting from day zero from that. Don't do the myself mistakes. Don't do the same things that I did. I'm just trying to. That I don't want other people. I did it. Didn't work. Trust me.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Umberto. This has been very enriching, and thank you for inspiring us with Save One Seat. Thank you to all the Global Shapers team. And well, as I tell everyone every day, happy quarantine. Let's make the best weekend with this time that we have at home. Let's use the chance to learn and exchange opinions. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye bye.